Did you ever get your mouth washed out with soap for saying bad words when you were a kid? Well, I did multiple times, and it wasn't even for the words that you would expect. Here's my story. Well, I've already told you about the time that I was spanked while in the car going 55 miles an hour, which caused me to throw up on everybody. So it should come as no surprise to you that discipline in our house was considered strict by today's lenient standards. So back then, one of my punishments would be to get my mouth washed out with soap if I said bad words. And by bad words, I'm not talking about the obvious ones, like the S word, the HE double hockey sticks word, or even worse, because those were words that weren't even in the realm of possibility of things that I would ever dream of saying in my household. Nope, those words weren't even a possibility. What I would get my mouth sudsed up for most commonly was saying two simple words: shut up. Yep, those were the big ones: shut up. Most commonly, I would be saying it to one of my two sisters, who in all honesty really should have shut up a lot more. They were the ones causing all the problems. But the second those two words escaped my mouth and my dad heard them, there were two words: bathroom now. And at that time, I knew what was coming. Now there was one other offense that I vividly remember, and that was for saying that I had to go pee. Now remember, we had one bathroom and 6 people in the household, so one night I was dancing outside the bathroom waiting for somebody to hurry up, and I said, "Hurry up, I have to go pee." And that was enough. As soon as that bathroom was empty, my dad marched me in there. I had another appointment with Mr. Sudsy. So shut up and pee. Those were the bad words that I said when I was a child. But the moment you heard bathroom now or go to the bathroom, your stomach dropped. Because that's when the mental gymnastics really began. Because you had to think about what kind of soap bar was waiting for you in the bathroom. The reality is that you did not get a new fresh bar of soap to wash your mouth out. You got whatever this 6-member family was currently in the middle of using. And remember, we lived on a farm. We had lots of dirty hands. Now, if you got really lucky, you would find yourself a nice bar of Ivory soap. Ivory soap was very mild, a nice bouquet on the nose, and a gentle feel on the tongue. Your second choice would be a bar of Dial soap. Now, Dial was a little bit rougher than Ivory, but still, it was bright yellow, so maybe you could imagine that it was mango flavored. Next worst would be a bar of Irish Spring. You're taking a step up in strength, and really, name me anything that tastes good that comes out of Ireland. But if you were really unlucky, the worst bar of soap that you could get would be a bar of Lava. Now, for the uninitiated, Lava soap is marketed as a heavy-duty hand cleaner. In their own words, Lava was invented to scrub tar, engine grease, filth, grime, and other similar substances from your skin. Imagine what that would do to your tongue. And its secret ingredient is pumice. Pumice as in tiny bits of volcanic rock. That's right, it had volcanic rock bots in it to give it extra scrubbing power. And as you can imagine, that was not very pleasant on the tongue. But once you found out what kind of soap was waiting for you, you still weren't done worrying, because what you wanted was a dry bar of soap. One that hadn't been recently used, especially by someone going to the bathroom. Because if it was a dry bar, it would take a little while to get the lather going. So your punishment wasn't quite as bad because you didn't instantly start out with a mouthful of soap suds. But of course, even worse was a combination of a wet and dirty bar. Because remember, we were a farm family. We had lots of dirty hands. So who knew what flavor profile was on that bar? Engine grease? Chicken poop? Grass clippings? Any of those could have been on that bar of soap headed for my mouth. But when the time for the main event came, there was no last-minute negotiations. You just stuck your tongue out like a thirsty puppy and took your punishment. Now, the soap punishment itself was actually probably more symbolic. It was a quick little rinse on the tongue with the soap, just enough to make you really think twice about what you were going to say the next time. So looking back, it's kind of funny how the words that were considered bad words back in those days are words that wouldn't even cause anybody to bat an eyelash today. But as a punishment, getting my mouth washed out with soap really would make me think a little bit more about what words I chose, at least until my sister started bugging me again. Then all bets were off. So as I was writing this, the question kept arising. Was it really as bad as I remember it? Well, of course, there's only one way to find out. I have in front of me 2 bars of soap. I used a Dial and, of course, a Lava. They've been soaking, so they're wet bars. And I'm going to see if it's actually as bad as I remember it to be. So let's see. Yeah, that doesn't taste that good. But the real test, of course. Oh, it's getting worse. No. All right. Got to take a time out. Okay, so I'm back. I was over at the sink for the last couple minutes dry heaving. But of course, in the interest of science, we still have to do the lava because lava was the gold standard of the soap punishment. So here we go. This is really dumb, by the way. The first one was awful. So trying this one doesn't really seem like a smart thing to do. In actuality, though, in looking at the soap, it doesn't seem to have the little bits that I remember it having. It used to have little scrubbers, what are they? Exfoliants. That's what they would call it these days and charge you extra for it. But back in those days, it was just little pieces of rock that they put in the bar to assist with the scrubbing power. I don't see those in this bar anymore. But let's see if this goes any better than the dial did. That's worse. That's much worse. That's bad. Oh man. All right. So I've determined that that was a horrible punishment. My mouth tastes awful. It tastes exactly like you would expect it to be. So it doesn't taste fresh and clean. In conclusion, please don't do this to your children. So if you like this video, hit the bell, hit the thumb, subscribe. And as always, sincerely, thank you for watching. Oh man, that's awful.